Hey, welcome to Old Ass Movie Reviews. I'm Scott.
everybody.
There's Dave over there, and we are hitting our second Star Wars episode. Even though we talk about Star Wars in every single episode, this is episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Better movie than episode 1.
Yeah, far better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, it's the continuing story of Anakin slowly turning to the dark side, which I think, in my opinion, should have already been done in this movie. He should have turned to the dark side in this movie. In the third movie, should have been all Vader, you know?
Yeah.
But that's just me. Padme's in this, Obi-Wan's in this, Yoda's in this. The thing that I liked about this particular episode is they changed the way Yoda looked from episode 1.
I still think he looked bad.
You thought he still looked bad?
Yeah.
I thought he looked about 100 times better. I would have preferred the puppet.
I would have too. I found, since you mentioned that, and that's right, because I was confused on the first episode. I thought, damn, was that practical? But apparently not. But that was one of the things about watching this. The CGI is very jarring in this movie, I think. It's very obvious. And here's the thing, and we've talked about this every time, but when this movie came out, it was not obvious. It was like, oh my God, that's absolutely amazing. Now I watch and it's like, oh God. But if they'd have done all practical and in camera, it'd have helped.
The animation, the digital, the CGI, it doesn't age well. And it almost never does. The one of the few movies that I think to this day aged very well was the first Jurassic Park. I still think that aged very well.
I think it is. Yeah, it's still done really well.
But it was done in a different manner too. Wasn't all everybody is freaking CGI'd.
Well, that's one of the things with this. Let me cut you off real quick, just while I'm thinking about it. And it's not so much the fact that it's CGI, and we've noticed this when we were doing reviews dealing with Harryhausen and stop motion animation and stuff, and watching the whole movies that made us and behind the scenes things that there are people brought in to show animal movement and get a fluidity that's not there. And the gladiator scene in that big arena, some of those creatures moved very unreal, and I thought it was very noticeable. I found myself watching this movie being incredibly critical, and it deserves a critical eye.
Right.
I also, before the haters start coming, I think it's a crucial part of the story. It's good to know this back stuff. It's important. It moves it along. It's just, I find this movie incredibly flawed.
Yeah. My biggest problem. Now I'm going to go with problems, but there are a lot of things that I like about this movie, and we'll get to those as we go through the notes. But my biggest problem is, as we just started talking to, and you're like, we got to save this for the podcast, the chemistry between the main characters, Padme and Anakin. There's no chemistry there. It's supposed to be this great romance where they're just falling in love.
It's creepy.
Anakin's a creeper. I mean, he's like a creeper, solid creeper. And she's not much better because she's way older than this kid. That whole thing is weird. One of the Star Wars movies that actually worked, this kind of thing worked in, was the first sequel. What's that called? Not the Rise. The Force Awakening. The Force Awakens.
Force Awakens. Yeah.
Between Finn and Rey. The chemistry between those two actors, holy crap.
Yeah.
And then they cut it up, but that's another story. But that's
Ruin Johnson. We'll save that for later.
Exactly. Those two characters and those two actors, the actor
they had
and
great
actress,
chemistry.
Had great chemistry. They didn't have that in this movie for these two characters and these two actors for whatever reason. And I don't know why, because they're both great actors.
Well, I can speak on that a little bit just as an actor myself. I've never done anything to this level. But you either have chemistry with somebody or not. And to give a perfect example, when anybody watches you and I on a short or watches the YouTube videos, the comment I get from everybody is, you fuckers got great chemistry. You're like brothers. You just, you know, you got it. Right. And it's just one of those things. You either have it with the person or you don't. And you know, when I watched this whole interaction between Anakin and Padme, he's very creeperish. But as Janine had mentioned, how old was he in this movie? He probably didn't have a lot of life experience to pull from. Even though he'd been acting since age 13, he still probably didn't have a lot to pull from where he could have got that, or it just didn't click.
At that time, I know that I had seen him in at least one or two other movies, and he was a really good actor. And I'd seen him in stuff after that.
Yeah.
The kid's a good actor. He was a good actor when Ewan McGregor was a good actor.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think it's direction.
This was definitely direction. Now, before everybody starts sending me hate mail saying, well, you're not a billionaire like George Lucas, you're right, I'm not.
No.
The thing George Lucas had was he's an idea man, and he is a fucking genius. No. I was watching some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, and the amount of detail that he was getting himself into for the animated characters, the cloning technicians, to all the way down to the background characters. He was there with the designers, man. He was an idea guy, and he would take 2 or 3 different elements of characters that they had designed and mix them up and go, well, why don't we take this from this one and this from this one and this from this one and just kind of put it together and see what we got. And they would go off and do it, and they'd bring it back, and he'd be like, yes, that's exactly what I had in mind. With that said, I think on these 3 movies, doing that kind of detailed production work, drained him too much to be a good director. He's not a good director to begin with. I've never heard that he was a great director. I've heard he's a great guy. I've heard he's a nice guy, but he's just not a good director. I think he should have gotten somebody else to direct these movies. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion. Now, take that opinion with a grain of salt, because I am not a multi-billionaire. No, I did not sell the product to Disney for $3 billion plus. Well,
exactly. And, I do praise George Lucas for creating such a universe.
Oh, yeah.
And we've said this all along. I just think he needed better friends for this prequel.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can't blame him for what comes after this.
No. But you can understand it.
Yes.
You can kind of understand it. I have notes. Would you like to go down? Let's go through some notes.
Let's go through some notes.
Boy, have I got some notes. We'll start with when the ship first lands, Padme first gets to Coruscant, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you're going to blow up a ship, why do you wait until it lands?
I know. That was odd.
And then what I thought was even much stranger was later on, Zan, the shapeshifter, is talking to Jango and says something to the effect of, where is it? Shot at the ship as it landed. Or she took her shot when the ship landed. And I don't know if that is meant to be that she literally launched a rocket at it.
I think that may have been.
Or if, I gave it my best shot, Jango. Sorry, I goofed up. That part was very unclear. It wasn't written very clear. But that's a minor thing. Mm-hmm. And this is just, again, this is a minor thing. It's a great scene. I mean, they do that pullback shot, and there's just shit exploding, and it's blowing up the ships next to it. And there's 3 ships on that platform that get wiped out. And it's a beautiful shot. Not going to complain about the animation in that at all. That was a nice job. This is the one thing that's always bothered me about this trilogy. I'm not buying that the most powerful Jedi don't know who the Sith Lord is.
Thank you.
You have 12 guys on the council. Mace Windu and Yoda are the 2 most powerful fucking Jedis in the galaxy, sitting across the desk from the Sith Lord, and
don't
they can't
even know.
Pick it up. Yeah, and
I find that to be, that is a moment that I can suspend disbelief in a lot of things. This one is this doesn't make sense.
There is 2 scenes. There's a scene between Mace Windu and Yoda as they're talking about the Sith Lord or something, and they're both looking at each other. They're both giving each other a look like, I know something you don't know, or do I? Do we talk about this thing out loud? Do we just let it fly by? And what I think is happening, and I'm trying to fix this story hole as far as I see it in my head, is those two know who the Sith Lord is. They've seen into the future, and they think that they have to let the future play out instead of stopping.
I understand that argument.
And there's also another scene where Palpatine is saying something to Yoda as there's like 5 or 6 of the Jedi Council members in the thing. And Yoda turns around, he looks over his shoulder. He's kind of walking out, and he looks over his shoulder, and he's got this look on his face like, you might fool everybody else, but you're not fooling me.
Yeah, I did get the impression that Yoda knew.
But it's that look that Yoda gives. Those animators gave all of that. See, that's where the animation for me on this Yoda worked really well.
It did.
Those animators, they got that look. Like, I know who you are. They
got the emotion down. They got really that. Good. And I did see that there was something, you could see Yoda's wheels spinning.
Yeah.
Something was going on. And he did that a few times when he sensed Anakin's despair and pain and everything. It's because I think he knew, yes, he's the chosen one. Things are about to get bad. But here's they keep talking about he's the one that's going to bring balance. Well, he does.
In a sense, he very, very well does.
The prophecy gets fulfilled. It just I don't think they expected it to go the way it was going to go.
Exactly. Prophecies are never the way everybody thinks they're going to go.
Yep. It came true, but it didn't play out the way they wanted.
Yeah. Anakin's right about Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's a jerk.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan treats him like garbage through the beginning of this movie, like nobody's business. In my opinion, he's not listening to what Anakin is saying. When Anakin says, "Hey, I think we got a better idea," he keeps like calling him my young Padawan, my young apprentice, my young Padawan apprentice learner. I mean, he's just like making sure the kid knows his place. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to talk about that real quick. 10 years has passed. It's been 10 years since the last movie. So he's been with Obi-Wan training for 10 years, but yet Obi-Wan does talk to him as if it's on week 1.
Yep.
That's a problem with the writing. That's a problem because he would have been much more along. And I don't think it did Hayden Christensen any favors to have dialogue and this type of stuff set to make him look like a little whiny ass teenager. It was so whiny, and I just couldn't.
Right.
I just wanted to strangle him, and it's like, I know it's not your fault, Hayden. I really knew. But
I thought there was a couple of scenes where he's just getting really angry and upset.
Kind of forced.
And I was like, he should have kept that anger much more inside. Like when he was talking to Padme in her room while she's packing, and he's just moving. I think he's floating shit around, or he's like, Obi-Wan doesn't understand me. He was like, Obi-Wan doesn't understand me, and I'm better than him. I'm stronger than him. It should have been like, Obi-Wan, he should have kept it close. Like
he needed better direction. Even if he didn't have anything in his life to pull from, he needed direction to be able to, because I didn't find that believable, and I didn't find after he finds that his mother has been captured by the Tusken Raiders, and then he brings her body back. I didn't believe him then either. I didn't feel it right. It didn't seem right. It just was off, and it's like he needed better direction.
As far as I'm concerned, at that scene when his mother died, that should have been his breaking point. That should have been the point where Vader became Vader. Like, he should have anointed himself Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I always thought happened. Like, I always thought he just anointed himself. Like, this guy no longer exists. Now I'm this other thing. And I think it would have been good to have Padme follow him because she did love him. Yeah. And she loved him so much. And she thought, well, he's not evil. I've seen the good that he did. He's a Jedi Knight. Even if he quit the knighthood, she could have followed him and then realized later on, like, oh shit, this guy, he really is evil. He's really turned to this dark side that I don't understand, that I have no understanding of. I've never been trained in it. That is where I think the story kind of falls apart for me, because I've always read the books, and I always read the books to be something along those lines. At least in my own head, I always assumed that's the kind of thing that happened with Vader. Like, when he snapped, he just went. Like,
it'd been a long time since I'd seen this, and I was thinking that too. It's like, okay, I know when he finds his mother, he kind of snaps.
Yeah.
It should have been full on, and they kind of went there, but it's like for somebody who just killed a bunch of innocent children and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just wasn't buying it, man. I just really wasn't buying it. And
he didn't play it cold enough for me. I mean, and I understand that he was crying like he's a young guy and he's crying. And even if he would have still played it cold-hearted with a tear coming down his cheek, that to me would have been even creepier. Like, here's this guy.
Scared.
Yeah, like he's scared of the dark side, but now he's going to embrace it, and he's got a tear running down his cheek. Like, I'm this guy now. Like, I can't go back.
Well, one of the things that they did a good job of showing, and I wish they would have shown more, but it was enough to give you an idea. You could see that Palpatine has been grooming him for a long time.
Yeah,
he even mentions that, he mentions the training and stuff like that. It's like, oh, fuck, Anakin has been training with the Emperor for a bit.
Yeah. He knows. Here's the thing with me. When Anakin's complaining about his dreams, his bad dreams, his nightmares that he's having for his mom, instead of, hey, Obi-Wan, why don't you take him to Tatooine? Why don't you go check on the mom? Even if you don't.
10 years.
Even if you do not take him, even if you're like, everything will fall apart if this kid sees his mom now because he's in this weird training.
I'll go check.
I will go check. Even that would have been good to have him get there not in time and die.
Yeah.
And Vader would have had somebody to blame. My mother died because of you. Obi-Wan. If you would have let me go, I could have saved her.
Yeah.
That would have made much more sense for Vader to hate Obi-Wan.
Yeah, it would have made a lot better.
Yeah,
Instead, we're just left to infer that, and it's like, come on.
And again, this is years after this is written, but like you said, I don't think he didn't do himself any favors surrounding himself with the people that he surrounded himself with. I think he probably had a lot of yes men.
Yeah.
And I've read Star Wars, the movie script, Empire and Jedi. None of them read as boring as these movies read. But this one doesn't read nearly as bad as Episode 1.
Oh, yeah.
I read the Episode 1 script, and I'm like, I don't even know how he made this one because it just reads very stale.
It is a very stale, very slow movie with moments in to keep excitement going on what was really an unnecessary movie.
Yeah, pretty much. But I don't understand why he didn't have Obi-Wan go there. It seems like it would have been more interesting if Obi-Wan had found the mom, but not in time. Or maybe even Obi-Wan had to wipe out half the tribe, and the mother still dies. That would have been something for Obi-Wan to grasp and go, oh my God, I had to kill all these, Tusken Raiders. And that's, that could give you another reason why he's on Tatooine. Maybe he's trying to make it up to Tusken Raiders. I don't know. But it seemed like it would have been a good twist.
That's what's interesting about this. Watching, I know you haven't watched it, but in the book of Boba Fett, Boba is captured by the Tusken Raiders.
Right.
And it kind of turns into almost a Dances with Wolves scenario.
Oh, yeah.
He befriends them. He trains them. He helps them. He considers them family. And when they get wiped out by somebody, he takes it personal.
Right.
So I found it very interesting to show a different side of that. And then looking at this, and here's the thing, 10 years. We know when Anakin left Tatooine, he really didn't want to go. We talked about this in the last podcast, that this kid would have never left his mother.
No.
So I would like to think for the past 10 years, he's been hounding Obi-Wan. Can I send a message? Can you just check on her? Like you said, and it never did. Now I want to bring up something about this that I thought was very odd in the dialogue. And it was just left for the imagination. When he brings her body back, her then husband is there. It's like, she was the best wife. And then Janine chimes in immediately that money could buy. Because they never say that he went and secured her freedom or fell in love with her, other than Watto sold her to this guy.
No, Watto says that he fell in love with her.
Did he? Okay, yeah, I missed that.
There's a point when Watto's talking to he's talking to Anakin, and he says something like, "Yeah, I sold her out to this guy Lars, and says he set her free, and he fell in love, and he married her." And something
I missed
like that.
bit.
There's some dialogue there between him and Anakin, but Anakin scares the fart out of Watto.
Yes,
because when he says, "Yeah, I really want to know where she is," that's how he should have been playing that character the whole freaking time. Just like. Yeah, I'm a Jedi, but I'm going to kill you if you don't tell me what I want to know.
Exactly.
Like he does with Zen whenever he's got her down on the ground, the shapeshifter. And he's like, I want to know, where is he? And she's like, I don't know. And he's like, I want to know where she is, or you tell us where she is. And he's using the Force on her. And that's why she starts to tell him, because he's tearing that truth out of her. In the book, it describes that. In the book, it also describes when he's in the bar and they take Zen out after she's got her arm cut off or whatever.
Yeah. There's always somebody getting an arm cut off in a bar.
Yeah,
I saw that like your kid.
And it's really? Obi-Wan doing it.
Really?
But it's the that moment when everybody in the bar is kind of moving, and this is how powerful Vader is even before he's fully trained. He turns around to a bar of probably hundreds, perhaps thousands of alien species, all different types of aliens, and says, everybody relax, Jedi business. He's using the Force to calm everybody down in that bar. Because if you notice, even in the actors, they all do, and just turn around. It's like, oh my God, that's a brilliant moment. They needed to play that up a little bit more. I think they were way too subtle on that. He should have done like the hand gesture or something like, everyone calm down, this is Jedi business. And then you would have realized he's doing, the Yoda, the Obi-Wan, every freaking thing that goes.
All I can think of
never quite got it.
Yeah, Qui-Gon never had that move down. He may have been a legendary Jedi, but he couldn't do the little Force manipulation.
Yeah, Jedi mind trick shit never worked for Qui-Gon.
No,
it's like I never could get the. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just thought that could have been done a little bit better. And again, this is all nitpicky stuff. I know people are going to be like, "You're stupid. You don't know. You weren't there." You're right. I wasn't. But I'm looking at this X amount of years later, thinking that maybe a twist in a story plot may have made it better. Yeah, this is much better than episode 1.
Yeah, it is
way better than episode 1.
We are not, anybody who talks about such loved franchises is going to upset somebody, and that's fine. You know what? If you love Jar Jar and love this movie and things, hey, that's awesome. Yeah. Good for you.
That's cool.
I don't
understand it.
Yeah, and you know what? It's okay. Other people can like other things. So, but I do like to hear other opinions. Dave and I don't agree on everything Star Wars.
No, hell no.
No,
absolutely not. We don't. I mean, even on Star Wars.
Porgs. Oh, God. See, porgs.
Chewie should have ate that freaking porg. Anyway,
we'll get there. The porgs are coming.
When Obi-Wan jumps through the window to grab that probe droid and flies through the city, the only thing I could think of was Obi-Wan going through Obi-Wan's head was, I didn't think this through.
I know, right?
I didn't really think this through all the way.
That was a cool moment.
It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah.
And he's just being zipped around.
Yeah.
That was good. But that city scene itself.
That's really cool.
Oh my God. What a great.
It reminded me a lot of Fifth Element.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's where Fifth Element probably looked at that and went, that's what I want. Only
it may have been. I don't know which one came
years.
first.
Yeah, that's a good scene, just flying through the city. And I covered the insulting at Anakin. The city chase was just brilliant. Go ahead. You look like
I just is a very random thought. I'm watching this last night and I said, you know what? There's nothing more badass than seeing Samuel L. Jackson as a motherfucking Jedi.
Give me my lightsaber, bitch! Which one is it? The one that says bad motherfucker on
it. Say clone one more time, motherfucker.
Yeah, say clone one more time. See if I don't chop your head off. You gotta love. I kept waiting for him through that whole movie to do something like that. He never did. I was like, come on, you got Samuel.
I love Samuel L. Jackson. He's such a presence on screen, and just to make him a fucking Jedi, it's like he's a badass, and he plays it as a badass. He just has such a demeanor about him.
I had heard a rumor that one of the reasons he took the job, or one of his demands, was to have a purple lightsaber.
I saw that.
That was the making and breaking of him getting, because they weren't going to do it. He's like, okay, then I'm not going to do it. And they're like, really? And he's like, no, I'm done. Basically, negotiations are over, and they made him a purple lightsaber. They're like, all right, we'll make it purple. He's like, okay, I'm there.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
And it's great. I just love that story. Like, I don't know how true it is. If I ever met the guy, I'd have to ask him, like, really? Did you really? Was that the breaking point? But that's what I've always read. What else? Yeah, wouldn't it be funny to find out that was true?
It wouldn't surprise me. Like, see, he's a badass in real life. Oh, you want me in Star Wars? I get a purple saber, bitch.
when they're driving through the city, and I keep wanting to call him Luke. Anakin drops his lightsaber
again,
and then Obi-Wan's just like just reaches up and grabs it.
It's a common theme. There's so much foreshadowing in this as well.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's almost heavy-handed. With it's like, really, again.
The callback to the cantina when they go into the bar. I love that.
Yes.
Yeah, and I even made another note about Mace Windu had to know who Palpatine was, know what was going on. And I still think him and Yoda both know.
I think you might be right. That helps me a little bit, because that was one of the things I'm watching. It's like, here you have the entire Jedi Council. They don't know that it's the Sith Lord is actually running the Senate.
They had to. At least one or two of them had to have known.
Yeah.
At least the two big guys had to know. I did, because I refuse to believe that much evil could be condensed in one spot, and those guys wouldn't notice it.
I know. It's really weird.
I'm still saying it was some of the worst acting for these actors and actresses that I've seen. And there's no chemistry between.
I think that might be the biggest problem. I think if Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen had chemistry, because you can't fake chemistry, you can't act chemistry. No. You either fucking have it or you don't. Mm-hmm. So I think that was. I hate to say it, it's a casting issue. They should have got people that had fucking chemistry.
Like you were talking, they had she had a lot of chemistry in The Professional. Playing the little kid and being the one that was she's basically being trained to become an assassin in that.
She is an excellent actor.
Her and Renee, can't remember his last name. Jean Reno, yeah. Renee Jean Reno, right?
His first name, maybe, I just know him as Jean Reno, but maybe
Renee. Or was that the character's
maybe that's the character's name.
I think so.
There I go again. Oops. I did it again.
You fucked up the name. But
shocking. Go figure. But they had a lot of chemistry in that. That was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Lucas's fault on the acting. I will absolutely say his directing did them no favors.
No.
However, with that said, the man is a fucking genius when it came to marketing, when it came to the ideas, when it came to the mastering of the tech that was available. He got the best guys to do the best work that he could do at that time.
Yeah.
Bar none. I will never take that away from this guy. The worst thing he ever did was he directed all three of these movies and Metachlorians.
Yep.
I'll
give you that.
Other than those three things, I love the guy.
Well, here's the thing. I do think he was off the success of the original trilogy. It was groundbreaking in many ways, and stay tuned, folks, because we're going to be covering those. And I'm really curious when we get to those, is because I'm sitting here looking at these movies hypercritically, and is nostalgia going to cloud my vision on critiquing these movies? I don't know. We're going to find out.
I don't know. I've watched them so many times.
I know.
And I have been critical on some things, but most of my criticism comes with his redos. Every time he came in and touched them. Not so much the original, but the stuff that he came in and started tinkering with was always like, why are you tinkering? But that's we'll cover those.
We'll get to that. Yeah, we'll definitely cover.
But that's a good question, and it's something to.
Yeah, and it's something I want to be aware of because it's like,
yeah,
I saw those as a kid. They're important to me, entertainment wise, culturally, in my brain. Of this was the moment of, everything, and it's just it brought so much. But back to Lucas, he made such a world. He's a great world builder.
My God,
he gave us such a wonderful universe to play in and see all these things. And Jon Favreau is taking it and just running with it and bringing us some wonderful narratives from this universe. And it's just, I
want to look up and see what happened to Rick McCullum, which seemed to be his right-hand man through all of this.
Maybe he told him no once and said, you shouldn't do that, and got mad.
Could have been like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that. Hey, you're fired. Who knows?
Yeah, it could have been. I don't know.
I used to really hate the diner scene. Doesn't bug me as much now.
It's a pretty cool scene.
Now I'm looking at it like, okay, I see that it's Alice's, from the series. I get the whole thing. I get that. Doesn't bother me as much as it used to. Kind of like the old prospector guy. And did you know, like watching this, the extras on this, Obi-Wan, when they go in for the hug and they're talking, that's all animated, except for Ewan McGregor's face. They took his head and put it on an animated body. So when they hugged, they could control all the folds and where the hands went, so there was nothing not actually touching. Like, he went through and acted it out with nothing there, but then when they created the creature. That's amazing. I know. I was like, oh my God, how did they do that? And I'm watching it.
You're talking about the guy with the forearms and
the forearms, the big thing with the turtle head.
Yeah, here's what I thought when I was watching that. It's a neat character. I would have loved to seen that practical.
Wow. Yeah.
I would have loved to seen it all practical.
That would have been. Yeah,
I'm a sucker for it, man. Give it to me because it doesn't. I say this every time. Go back and watch The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, and tell me that those effects don't hold. They're great.
No, so. I get it. I think you're right. I'm not gonna.
That's why I'm always gonna say Baby Yoda, not Grogu or whatever. But
I always say Baby Yoda. I always say Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda. I got to do yoga today. My back is killing me.
Yeah, mine too. So stay tuned to our next podcast. Two old fuckers try yoga.
There's a callback in here at one point where 12 parsecs beyond the outer rim call back to Han's Spice.
Yes. I caught
Whatever
that.
He tells him, those cloners are out there, and he's like, well, where at? And he's like, about 12 parsecs beyond the outer rim. I
noticed
like,
that.
Oh my God,
oh, Jesus,
that's brilliant. That was good writing, George.
Yeah.
That was a good throwback, and I appreciate that.
This movie is full of throwbacks, and which is great because we do know that this is done after the fact. And one of the things I was thinking when I was watching this last night is like, I would have really loved to have seen this and not known what was going to happen.
Right. And not know.
I would love to have known Anakin. I would have liked to have never seen any of the other movies.
Yeah. And not realize what that. You know what? Wow. That might be why so many people like these movies so much, because they hadn't seen the originals.
It could be.
That may be. And you know what? Looking at it like that. Now going into this third movie, I might have to take back what I've been saying about George Lucas. Other than the chemistry right now between the two main characters, there's still no chemistry there. There's no way around that. Oh, but yeah. Wow,
but that's why we look at these movies and I know I see a lot of stuff as unnecessary. It's unnecessary. We know this because I'm assuming that everybody watched it in the order I did. We're not exactly young anymore, so we watch these as children.
Speak for yourself, Scott. You're a jerk.
I know, but it's. I wonder if that's just I don't. Maybe he did it. Maybe he was conscious of that. I don't know.
You know what? He might have been. He might have been like, look, nobody knows what's going on here. I have to dummy this. Not so much dummy it down.
Yeah. But show a little more than necessary.
Dude, I've spent how many years disliking these movies for pretty much the exact reason you just said.
Yeah.
But now it makes sense. Now a lot of the stuff just kind of falls together like, oh, okay, that's why he did that. That
he's
may
setting
be
it up,
why
I think,
he
for
did all
people who
this.
may not have seen it. This is what I'm really curious to see what happens when we start to roll into these, because and we'll definitely talk about that. But it's we're going from, I haven't seen this in years and years and years. This particular movie, I honestly didn't remember a lot of it. I thought the gladiator scene in the arena was kind of pointless. I got some Jedi. I'm going to execute them. Let's do a big show. What
was with all the vagina boutiques around this damn hive?
Okay.
What was that? I looked at those the first time I went to see that at the movie. I just looked over at the old lady, and she looked at me, and she's like, I don't know.
I didn't see it. I didn't get that, but I do now that you say that.
Really? How did you miss it? They were 8 foot tall.
I'm about to tell you how. Back around that same time frame was a video game by Bethesda called Morrowind, and a lot of the architecture looked just like that.
Really?
And I was looking at that as like, this looks like Morrowind, like Tamriel or whatever the damn Solstheim or whatever this fucking fake universe was. It reminded me of that video game. And you're seeing vaginas everywhere. But, hey.
And now you're never going to be able to unsee them.
No, I'm not.
It wasn't just me. I remember going to see this movie with me, my wife, and my friend Pat. And we're all sitting in the movie in theater, and I look over at Kat, and she's just like, I don't know. And Pat's looking over at me like, what's with the vaginas? Like, everybody in the theater is like looking around like, are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Welcome to the Massengill Arena.
Welcome to New Jersey. We all see vaginas.
Fucking Jersey people.
but let me keep going on. Now, here's a question I have, and anybody that's out there watching that's as big a geek as I am, I never caught this until last night. Was the head librarian working for Dooku? I know in the books they say that they may have had a relationship, or in something that they may have had a relationship. But was she working for Dooku to hide Kamino?
Might be. Because they did mention only a Jedi could have hidden that.
Yeah. Like only a Jedi could have known about this place and got in there and emptied it out. And they just assumed that it was... I wrote his name down someplace. Cypher Dyas.
Oh, Cypher Dyas, yeah.
Yeah, they're just assuming that it was Cypher Dyas.
Yeah.
But she knew who Cypher Dyas was. She knew who Dooku is. Mm-hmm. Was she working with Dooku? Was she a dark Jedi?
Dooku, besides a horrible fucking name for
what a horrible name. That was
Christopher
a bad name.
Lee deserved better, but goddamn, I love him.
Yeah, I can't complain.
You want to see acting? There it is.
Yeah, even George Lucas couldn't fuck that up.
No. It would be hard to fuck Christopher Lee up.
Yeah,
he just has such a presence, so good. Horrible name. Yeah.
Here's another small thing for me. I think Vader / Anakin was such a powerful Jedi. If Mace Windu or Yoda didn't know about what was going to happen in the future, one of them would have trained him. One of them should have trained him.
Yeah.
Because he is so powerful. Only one of those two could have trained him properly.
Why did they leave it to Obi-Wan? That's interesting. And
who had just become a Jedi Knight. Not a Jedi Master yet. He was just a Jedi Knight.
He was still training under Qui-Gon. So it's
right. And he that's I thought about that last night watching this.
I didn't even catch that. And that's
I still like
that's true.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I Yoda better.
Yeah, I did too. It just looked off. And I guess I really want the fucking puppets. Come on.
Puppets, man. Puppets. Who was Cypher Dyas working for? Was he on his own? Was he actually working for Palpatine? Did he see the future? And was he planning for a different future that he saw? And who killed him? These are all questions that not one of them are answered. You just assume that Cypher Dyas was working for Palpatine.
Go back and in your head, and if you're out there, go pull up the scene of
of when Mace Windu and Yoda are talking about him. And they stop and they're looking at each other. There's that look again.
Yeah,
there's that knowing
look
again. And it's just, there's something going on there with it.
Like they all know, at least these two know what's going on in the galaxy.
Yeah.
Nobody else might know, but these two do know.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of questions that were unanswered.
What I want to know is what happened to the stormtroopers to cause them not to be able to shoot. They can shoot fine in this movie. They're hitting their targets.
Well, remember, Vader, in the original Star Wars, he asks for them, he has to let them escape the Death Star.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want them killed. So that's why the stormtroopers are missing. Now, that
entire trilogy?
That order was never rescinded. Because he always, when he's telling them to go aboard the Millennium Falcon, set your weapons for stun. So it's always, he wanted these people alive. So you got a bunch of stormtroopers that will wipe out a planet in a heartbeat going, why don't I just throw my fucking blaster at him?
Okay, that
it's going to work sense. Just as well.
Because by the time we get into The Force Awakens, they're hitting things again.
Oh yeah, they're back at it. They're back at being good crack shots.
But for 3 movies, they can't hit shit.
Or at least the first original trilogy. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. That's a good point. Oh, where am I now? Oh, the sound of music moment on that damn planet of Naboo drives me nuts. And again, that's
There's
another
a missed
one
opportunity on that too.
Where me, Kat, and Pat are all sitting there, and all 3 of us are watching that.
You told me about that,
and we're all like, "The hills are alive with the sound of music," and there had to be half the audience singing the exact same thing. And I'm thinking to myself, if George Lucas was sitting here watching that, he'd probably be like, "Oh my God, I didn't even see it." Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to digitally take that freaking thing out. But that was the worst. Again, with no chemistry at all.
No.
Creepy guy chasing the older woman. That's just...
Yeah, one of the things that was missed there, and I laugh at it every time, and I just keep expecting it.
What's that?
Is the Michael Jackson song, Smooth Criminal, has a little line in it. Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie?
Yes, so, I swear to God, I started singing that last night.
When she runs up to him now, he's laying in the grass, Annie, are you all right? I'm like, damn, I'm supposed to say, are you okay, Annie?
This is funny, because I started singing that last night or the night before, and Kat started singing it too.
Exactly. Like, I think of it, Annie, are you okay?
Okay, you know what? When she's sitting there telling Anakin, "Oh, we shouldn't be doing this," as she's pushing her chest into his chest at night in front of the fireplace with the dim lit, and she's in this beautiful dominatrix gown. She's practically dressed like a dominatrix, and she's like, "No, we shouldn't be doing this, Annie. This is wrong." She flings her hair back and pushes her breasts forward. This is wrong. You're a Jedi.
She's gonna regret that decision.
Yeah, you'll regret something. I'm sitting there like, really? That's not a way to turn any guy down. Just saying. If you were serious, you'd be dressed in a burlap sack. You'd be dressed like one of those sand people females with the full gown thing. She looked like a box.
So you have any more notes on this?
I got lots of notes. How much time have we got?
Not much.
Oh shit! Really?
Really?
Oh, I have so much.
Hit the good points.
Good points. Okay. Worst acting. Obi-Wan grabbing.
I love C-3PO and R2 as always. That was some good scenes with C-3PO losing his head and everything. It was.
I thought that was over. I thought that was over comedic. I think they felt like he got rid of Jar Jar, so they needed more comedy. And I'm watching that going, I don't see it.
I was good with it.
The humor is okay, but I just didn't see it. I loved Obi-Wan sending the message. R4, send a message to the old folks home. He's talking about the Jedi Council. I was like, oh shit, he was a shit, man. He was funny. He was very funny. bad acting. Book of Return. Oh, in the book Return of the Jedi, Obi-Wan says Owen Lars is his brother, and that's why Vader never looked for him on Tatooine. But in these trilogies, they totally erased the story from the book. Because he's telling him, and to keep you safe, I gave you to my brother to raise as his own. That's why he went back to Tatooine. That's why he was staying on Tatooine. So if anybody ever gets a chance to read the Return of the Jedi book,
interesting.
I prefer that thought, and I think they should have stuck with that. I don't think Anakin should have ever been on Tatooine. He should have been taken to Tatooine by Obi-Wan to be given to his brother, like in the book. That always made sense to me. And then later on, when this movie came out, I'm like, no, wait, that's not what everybody says. That's not what's been said for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's, what it is now.
Yeah.
Shmi's death, I say, should have been his breaking point.
It should have been.
And, of course, Jar Jar destroys the Republic.
I was going to get there. Here we go. Jar Jar fucks it all up again. However, in his defense, he was being played and so was everybody else. And that's one of the things I do appreciate. It's kind of a boring bit of this whole trilogy. But the political intrigue it's moving in the background is pretty fucking slick. It's smart. It's well written. It's not exciting.
Right. And that stuck very much to all the books that I had ever read. Because you knew Palpatine was a senator, and he somehow got onto the High Chancellery and then took over.
And and these movies show exactly how he did that. They had planned how they had the army ready to go, and I love in this movie the musical cues. Mm-hmm. How when you see somebody from the Empire, you hear the Imperial March, and then you hear the New Hope music, and it's just you
start hearing like all these new
wow
to be new cues. I liked. Have you ever seen the movie Galaxy Quest?
Oh yes.
Tell me that Padme running through the machinery, all that stuff falling down, wasn't her going, "Who wrote this episode? I don't even know why this machine is here."
I was watching a video game. It was like, what the hell is this shit?
That's all I could think of last night when she's like dodging and the shit's coming down and smashing. I'm like, this is Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest is an awesome flick.
We talked about the way too much CGI, in my opinion. It still looks pretty good, but it's not as crisp.
It's just noticeable. It's really noticeable.
Why can't Obi-Wan and Anakin get out of those chains?
I don't know.
I mean,
Padme had no problem.
You had one that's a master Jedi and one that's pretty much a Jedi Knight. Should have been able to use force powers just to pop those chains up. They didn't have any kind of special lock on. I mean, even if they had a special lock on them, they're fucking
Padme
Jedi.
Picked them.
Padme had the little thing. Pick. I'm done. He's like, oh, okay. The saber fight had too much close-ups. Too many close-ups.
Yes, it's because people couldn't fight.
Or not Obi-Wan, but between Dooku and Anakin. I mean,
that's one of the things I mentioned.
Too many, like, hi, I'm Anakin Skywalker. Jesus, I don't need to see the hair.
When you're that close in a fight scene, you're hiding shit.
Yeah.
And look at a martial arts film where they pull the camera back and you see a fight. This is because they couldn't do it or they couldn't choreograph it to make it believable. So there's a lot of fast cuts, a lot of close-ups, and it's like it's frantic, it's energetic, but it's like
I know they used a body double for Christopher Lee, and they superimposed his face on a lot of stuff because he's an older guy. He couldn't do the shit that he used to be able to do, but some of the stuff he could do. I mean, he could do some sword fighting, but this one, the guy was doing flips and jumping around a lot. So, but still, if you're gonna do that, pull the shot, throw the shadows in, do something. But that was too close.
It was. It was very obvious that they were covering up.
The best part of this movie, for me, was Yoda breaking bad on Dooku. When he just whips open his jacket and
like, you're going to learn today.
You're like, boy, I'm going to teach you another lesson.
You're going to learn today.
Dooku's going to get spanked.
As he should. Yoda's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, he was frogging all over that place, just hopping all over the freaking place. Real quick, I'm going to go through all the actors' names because I always forget actors' names, and that's become a running joke. Everybody who talks to me that's ever seen this, who knows me, has come up and said, "You can't remember anybody's name, can you?" Natalie Portman, Hayden Christensen, Frank Oz as Yoda, Ian McDiarmid as Palpatine, Prunella August, Shmi Skywalker, Ahmed Best, Jar Jar.
Yeah.
Oliver.
A much better Jar Jar.
Yes. Less Jar Jar is always better.
But a more serious Jar Jar. And I did appreciate
Oliver
that.
Ford Davies was Bibble, was I think the guy at the diner. Tamara Morrison, of course, is Jango Fett.
Okay, stop right there. I think that is absolutely awesome that they use the actor for Jango Fett in the Book of Boba Fett as Boba Fett.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that till watching this last night.
You gotta be fucking kidding me. Really?
No, really.
That's amazing.
I had no idea. I had no idea. I said, oh, that's a great actor. Holy fuck, it's Jango. When I'm watching it, I'm hearing Jango. It, and it's like, and he's got hair, but it's like, and so I looked it up real quick. It's like, son of a bitch. I didn't know. I didn't know.
That's why he does some of the stuff he did in his movies.
Yeah. Probably right.
Anthony Daniels played more than one character in this movie.
Oh.
He was in the bar. Kenny Baker evidently was still alive at this point.
R2.
Silas Carson. Where's my motherfucking lightsaber? Samuel L. Jackson. Christopher Lee, Ewan McGregor as the Beaver. Jimmy Smits as Organa.
Yeah.
And
Jimmy Smits.
Leanna Walsam as Zam, which was the shape-shifting bounty hunter. And I never knew her name. Leanna Walsman. And I think she's been.
And that's one of the things I found interesting. And look, listeners will have fun because Scott is not a huge Star Wars knowledge soaker-upper. That character, you said Zam?
Zam.
Zam,
I think. Zam or Zam? Zam?
Had the same outfit on that Ming-Na Wen wears in the Book of Boba Fett as Fennec.
Right.
Yeah, so I was like, wow.
Right.
Thought that was interesting.
And I thought, that's pretty cool. And you know what? Kat might have brought that up. Was that you? Did I talk to you the other day about this? Okay, then I think it was Kat brought that up. Like, that looks like the same uniform. I'm like,
it is.
It might be.
It is.
But it makes sense that he took the uniform and put it aboard a ship.
Yep.
I never thought of that, but that's a good call. Good call, both of you.
Yeah.
Very observant. I didn't notice.
Even though I don't know, didn't realize it was going to be the same actor.
One of my biggest pet peeves of this movie is still no IG-88 war droids.
I'll give you that.
War droids all over the place, no IG-88s. But that's me. That's all of my notes. That's all very minor stuff. And I know it seems very nitpicky, but Dooku was a good addition. Bad name.
Bad name, good addition.
I think they should have played up a little bit more on the librarian being the bad guy. Maybe. Yeah, this is all like in reverse, but I think the story could have been better had Obi-Wan gone.
I think so.
Got to the mother, but not in time. Maybe almost saved her. Almost saved her.
We needed a bigger turn to the dark side.
Yeah.
I don't know if his mother being killed with Sand People would have turned somebody that far.
Well, I think
Padme would have.
I think this her death would have turned him because he would have felt like he was betrayed by the Jedi Council and everybody
because he couldn't go and he couldn't save her. And that's one of the things. You're right. That's one of the things he kept saying. I couldn't save her. I knew I could.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to. I could have saved her if it weren't for you. You could have had him just quit being a Jedi.
Yeah.
And then go off doing Dark Lord shit, and everybody's like, "Who the fuck is this guy we got to worry about now?" And nobody even realized that he's who he is yet.
Yeah.
And I just think that would have been a more interesting turn for him. But then you wouldn't have had all the cartoons that came after.
And so your final take on Attack of the Clones?
Not a great movie. I want to say not a great movie.
Not a bad movie.
Not a bad movie. It's actually better than I remember. I liked it a lot more this time watching it than I have any other time, probably because I'm watching it with a more critical eye. And with your thinking when you said maybe he wrote these movies for people who haven't seen the original.
Then it makes more sense when you look at it.
That all makes all the sense in the world. And now I had to rethink.
Yeah.
Halfway through our review,
we'll see what happens with the next movie when I approach it that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you give it a watch? You give it a
I definitely give this a watch. I even give the first one a watch. If you are
I do too, just for the lore.
For the lore. The movie itself, episode 1, not a good movie, I don't think.
This is better.
This is much better.
This is better. This movie makes me want to see Old Republic stuff done.
Yeah.
I want to go back to Doku and further beyond.
Right. I want to go when the Republic was first being created.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
There's going to be a lot of neat stuff there. I do give this a watch. I liked it better than the first. I liked it better than I thought I was going to like it. Been a long time since I've seen it. And I was really irritated until I started thinking, wait a minute. Did he write this for people who hadn't seen the next 3?
If he did,
then this makes sense.
Yeah, I never thought of that until you said it, and then I had to start rethinking the way I was thinking, the way I was thinking about this movie.
Right.
And in so doing, I still think he should have had Darth Maul clones for the Dark Jedi. All the books that I read, I mean, they always made it sound like there was a bunch of Dark Jedi fighting a bunch of Light Jedi, and I just assumed Vader double-crossed all the Dark Jedi and killed them. That's what I just always.
I've got we have just a few seconds left, but I do definitely want to mention. I love how Doku actually gave Obi-Wan his entire plan, told everything that was going on, was not even lying to him. It's being controlled by the Senate's being controlled by a dark Sith Lord, and he wasn't lying.
And there was a really good chance that had Qui-Gon joined Doku, they may have been able to kick that other guy's ass and actually not had all this crap happen. Because he tells him, Qui-Gon knew.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon knew what was going on. So if that was true, then Yoda and Windu had to have known what was going on. Had to have known. Because Kat was sitting there saying, well, he's not lying. He's literally telling him everything that's true. She goes, so is he actually working for the Dark Lord?
Yes.
And I'm like,
I think so.
He is, but he'd kill him in a heartbeat.
I think so,
that's
too.
What Dark Lords do.
Yep. He would have done it. Done it. Yeah. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us on either audio or video. Make sure you hit the subscribe, like, share, drop
Smash that share button.
Smash that
Everybody's
share button.
Smashing buttons.
And, next week we do episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Is it the name of it?
I think so. Revenge of the Sith.
Return of the Sith. I don't know.
We'll call it Revenge. We'll call it Revenge.
It'll be a whole bunch of Sith.
It's 3. These are the 3 movies that I don't watch all that much.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just don't.
So be sure to join us and hear us fuck up names and not do anything other than piss you off on what you believe about Star Wars. So
I hope not, because we thoroughly enjoy it. Just let us know what you think. I mean, you heard us talk about petty stuff in this. And really, most of it is petty stuff.
Most of it absolutely
except some of the story plots I think could have been better. But
yeah. It's definitely worth a watch, and so are we. So check us out. Subscribe, share. Hey, we'll catch you next week with another Star Wars episode. Till then, may the Force be with you.
Cheers.